that took no time. Back again with another trade video, as this trade deadline for the NBA decided to be psychotic this year. And with all of that, De'Aaron Fox is finally traded, and so is Zach LaVine. This is actually a 3-team deal, and it's a bit odd because from what everyone thought the Spurs were going to have to give up to get Fox, they really didn't give up anything necessary or backbreaking. Like, they didn't really trade any player that they would consider valuable, and the picks that they did give up weren't too crazy, and the one decent one is in like 6 years. So to do all that and still get De'Aaron Fox is crazy. And I could go into the other teams in this deal as, Chicago obviously finally moved on. Still didn't get any crazy picks, which is hilarious because I genuinely don't remember last time they got a decent pick in a trade, but it's neither here nor there. I can also go into the Kings a lot more onto this deal, but really, they're just there again. This isn't a needle mover for them. This doesn't really impact too greatly of their future. Not hating on Zach LaVine, but he's not necessarily a upgrade on De'Aaron Fox. This isn't a ceiling or floor raising move. This is just remaining there while getting picks. They did get picks, which will help them going forward. Then they have to sort out the rest of that. So instead of, harping on those two teams, I'd rather talk about really the fun part of this trade because, not to be rude, but we're all here for Wemby and De'Aaron Fox, and this has the potential to be such an interesting duo going forward, as the Spurs aren't really tied into money like that much with a lot of the guys on their roster, and Wemby's on a younger deal too with the rookie deal. It's not nothing, but it's way cheaper than a Supermax. So not only are they getting De'Aaron Fox this year, the next year or two they have the flexibility to go out and get another guy on a max contract that helps with this team, and having another big flex like that, or you can go out and just get a Rolodex of supporting cast for these two. Really, the world's your oyster on that one, and the pick that they really wanted to have and keep, they did. The Hawks pick, is really the more valuable one that they had, and they got to keep it. So who knows what that's going to turn into? It's going to be in a lottery, and if they somehow get a top 5 pick, adding a really good rookie to this roster or trading out of that spot and collecting even more assets is just nuts. And, strictly the basketball portion of this, giving Wemby, a person to have the other team's defense actually look at and be like, oh, I actually might want to stop that person, especially with the rim pressure that De'Aaron Fox is known for. And he's not a negative on defense, so over Chris Paul, that's quite an upgrade, especially this old of a Chris Paul. And, Fox isn't, a world-breaking playmaker, but when you have Wemby, you're going to develop the lob connection eventually, especially from someone who has shown flashes of being a very plus playmaker. Not, top 5 in the league, but plus enough to where if you have Wemby, you're going to be making some damage and noise, preferably in the playoffs, which playoffs are very real this year. And while I don't think it's a championship year by any means, you're going to give Wemby and Fox really, really valuable playoff experience, not only just being there, but being there together. And some poor soul, or I guess souls, are going to have to deal with this team in round 1 or to play in. And one of the contending teams is going to go home because Wemby might pull some shit out of his ass. Or they lose. Either way, just getting to the dance is an excellent experience for what, in my opinion, is the best shot at being the face. Like, he is the freakiest of freak athlete you could have in the sport. He embodies modern basketball. He takes skill more than his physical attributes, but still puts them on display. He's game breaking, and I cannot wait to see him leading the pack for this next generation to take over from the LeBrons, the Currys, really just finally take the torch fully from them. Because as good as like Jokic or Giannis or Embiid were, people still talk more about the previous generation because the previous generation was still kicking and still good. But now that generation is, for lack of better terms, dying out. And while you still have the Jokic's putting up godlike seasons, I feel like these guys are more prepped to be the next faces as we get to see them fully, you know, on top without the previous generation just hogging all the spotlight. As cool as Jokic is, he is nowhere near the media pull that Curry does or LeBron does. So seeing this generation with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox added to this team for Wemby, I love it. Because you still have a lot of guys on this roster. You can figure out who you honestly want to keep, who you don't want to keep. You didn't really trade anybody that you would regret trading. And with that, you're going to be a much better team going forward. You're not locked into anything crazy. This isn't like a Clipper situation where you sold the bank for something. And I think the Luka trade's even worse now, but the fact that, yes, the Kings got a lot of picks, the fact that none of them were super valuable, I think we might finally start seeing the end of the just asset draining trades that, you know, speaking of the Clippers, that Paul George kind of started inadvertently and has just ruined some franchises. And I really hope so because I think more now than ever, a singular player isn't as valuable, like the top guy, as it has been in the past to warrant all of those assets being moved. So really, this trade, among other things, is signifying passing of a torch to the next generation. This team in 3 years, you're going to be looking at like the Rockets and Thunder, who they're here now instead of just looming. And I think this trade will be looked on pretty fondly. Yeah, you could have waited a little bit, but honestly, what you gave up, the half of season that you got ahead of time, is worth anything extra that you paid. And for the Kings, I'll touch on them a little bit. They're just kind of in the same spot. DeRozan might want out. Who knows on that one? And then the Bulls might be finally shopping the rest of that market. So you got your guy while everyone's resetting without breaking your own bank. I don't know what it is with some of these Western Conference teams, like OKC, like Houston, and now San Antonio, where they're just going to hoard assets and let their freaks of nature just develop, and then in a couple years, you're not going to be able to do nothing against it. And 2 days straight of this breaks my mind. I slept in today. I was expecting this day to be chill. I'm wearing the same sweatshirt as last video, but no, they had to do this trade. And I would love to rant more about this, but I'm just going to be talking around in circles. As is crazy, I can't wait to see what else happens, because Lord knows the Lakers still need to tool out some things, so who knows? Jimmy's still here. Who knows? So you might see another video from me about the last few trades here of the deadline, but if nothing else happens, the next true video that I actually am working on, like I said last video, is that Warrior video. and it's not going to be something where you're just going to be staring at my ugly mug ranting about something. It's actually going to be somewhat structured. So if you at all look forward to that, please keep watching these. But if not, thanks for tuning in. Peace out.